This is Star Trek: The Next Fornication, Part 4. Dr. Crusher and Chief O'Brien arrived at sickbay at the same time. She told him to lay on the examination table so she could repair his hand. He complied, and she began to repair the bones using the ultrasonic bone knitting device. What a mess his hand was, but was easily repairable. Glancing over at the doctor, O'Brien noticed that her crotch was just about eye level. Quite convenient, he thought to himself. As she moved, her robe flashed open for just a moment, and O'Brien caught a glimpse of her cunt hair. He moved his hand slightly so that it would pinch her robe against the table. Beverly moved just a bit, and her robe opened up, revealing her entire pussy. O'Brien reached up slowly, stroking the slit with the finger of his good hand. Beverly jumped slightly, but concentrated on her work. Her pussy was juicing, and the chief's finger was now pumping in and out of her slopping hole. "Ooh, Chief O'Brien, you really shouldn't be doing that to me," she said. But he kept fingering her. She liked the feeling, but she really wanted him to stop. She wanted it to be a long, slow orgasm, not a quickie on the exam table. Regretfully, she reached for the neural stimulator and held it over O'Brien's crotch, which was now bulging with his hard-on. She flipped the switch. "Ah, what the fuck!" he exclaimed, as a load shot in his pants. "A handy modification of the neural stimulator, Chief," she said, grinning widely. "Quite a handy for obsteperous or horny patients. You may leave now. Your hand is quite well." Clapping his hands and clenching his fist, O'Brien tested his hand. Then suddenly, Beverly slapped the memory alteration unit on his head. "No need in him or anyone else knowing he fingered my cunt," she thought. In a second, the incident was forgotten, and he left sickbay, thanking the doctor. But he never did figure out why his shorts were full of cum. Beverly went back to her cabin. The lights were out, and there was a soft glow of distant starlight. Beverly marvelled at how the planets they visited almost never seemed to have nearby stars from which to receive sunlight. But they were generally warm and comfortable anyway. Bazillions of stars in the galaxy, and they always seemed to be distant points of light. She dropped her robe back onto the chair and walked over to bed. "Hello, Beverly," a soft voice said. It was Deanna. "Hello, Deanna," Beverly replied, her voice dry and nervous. "Please sit down. I'd like to talk to you." Deanna pulled the blanket down and sat cross-legged on the bed. Although the light was dim, there was still enough light for Beverly to see that Deanna was naked. "What can I help you with?" Beverly asked. "I know what your problem is, honey," Deanna said, putting an arm around Beverly's shoulder and cupping her breast. Beverly made no move to stop her. She was horny, and this was totally different from getting fucked by a man. It was softer, more erotic. She was receptive as Deanna kissed her. Then their tongues battled. "Come here, sweetheart," Deanna said, putting her down on the bed. The two women fell back on the bed, locked in an embrace. their pendulous tits and nipples rubbing together. Deanna's arms were locked around Beverly's neck, and Beverly was cupping and massaging Deanna's tits. You've got a nice soft touch, Beverly. They reached down and began to feel each other's wet slit. Moaning lustfully into each other's open mouth, they kissed and fingered and squeezed and felt. Beverly hadn't fooled around with another female for 20 years. Back in the academy on girls' camping trip, the memories came flooding back to her. Since it was an all-girl trip, they had not taken as much care about covering their bodies. After all, they had often seen each other naked in the locker room. The 6 of them had shared one tent. They plied their sleeping bags next to each other and slept under blankets. One night was particularly warm, and they were all nude. There was no need to phaser heat rocks for warmth. One of the girls brought a selection of sex toys and showed the others how they worked. In their excitement, the girls not only used the toys, but used them on each other, in addition to their fingers and mouths. Deanna flipped around so that the 2 women were in the 69 position, a position Beverly liked quite a bit. The memory of all those nights of steamy lesbian slurping came flooding back to Beverly, and she turned to Deanna's pussy, which was now hovering just inches above her face. Deanna's tongue worked at her clit, and her fingers were stretching and massaging Beverly's sopping cunthole. The 2 women began moaning, and Deanna reached over to flip on the sonic dampeners so that the noise could not be heard outside the cabin. Then she resumed eating the doctor's pussy. Beverly was slurping on Deanna's juices, tonguing the counsellor's clit. As her tongue progressed, the slit opened up into a beautiful set of pussy lips, and they were pulsing with excitement. The ecstasy, Deanna moaned, pleasing Beverly, who thought she was out of practice. Give me one of those 2 dildos underneath the pillow, Beverly. Beverly handed one down to her waist and felt it enter her pussy. She put the other one up Deanna's pussy and began pumping as she licked. Then she felt Deanna withdraw the dildo. She started to register a complaint, but the pussy juice lubricated the dildo gently and entered her puckered arsehole. She jumped slightly, but it was a pleasing feeling. "Oh, Beverly, do my ass too, do my ass!" Deanna was moaning loudly into Beverly's wet cunt. Beverly removed the dildo from Deanna's pussy hole and slowly inserted it up her asshole. Instantly she remembered doing this on the camping trip. In fact, there was nothing the girls hadn't done. They had fucked and sucked in every combination and position. The only thing they hadn't done was get male cum inside them. But even after fucking cocks and loving the feeling of having her pussy pounded and stretched, she thought there was nothing quite like the gentle knowledge of a woman's touch on her cunt. "Ooh, Deanna, this is so nice," Beverly said, pausing just a moment from lapping Deanna's tasty pussy. Yes, I can feel it. Oh, I can feel our orgasms with every fibre of my body," Deanna said, moaning. Their orgasms washed over them like a wave front of a supernova, and they arched and intertwined, lustfully giving and getting the most luxurious feeling from their heads to their toes. Beverly was enraptured with the feelings in her pussy and arsehole. Deanna was coming too, but she was enjoying the feelings from Beverly as well as her own cunt. The ecstasy peaked and the 2 women collapsed, exhausted,